Hi everyone, this is your fifth period economics work for this week. So in terms of this, we've talked about this for a little while. This is all about introducing wider reading into the course. It's something that has to be done as a matter of course, and in terms of this also it's about how to make that effective. So just as a little reminder, when you undertake any A level at St. David's, and obviously I'm particularly focused on economics, the expectation is that if you spend 4 hours inside of class studying the subject, that should be matched with a further 4 hours outside of class. Now, up until now, that probably hasn't happened for a number of people, but obviously the workload will start to increase quite quickly. Now, in terms of that 4 hours, sometimes that might be time spent on completing homework. It might be on looking at different resources, reading and developing your class notes. For some people already they're doing topic summaries, and also in addition obviously that essential wider reading that is going to broaden your knowledge, that is going to give you depth, it's going to develop topic knowledge, it's going to give you skills and that ability to perform at a high level on the course. Now just in terms of this, what it also means is that you guys will be able to apply concepts studied in class to the real world. That's the really interesting part of economics. Make your economics come live, make a subject, and you can do that through real world examples. Now, a few of you have been asking me what's included as wider reading, and I know some of you have started your wider reading already as well. Obviously traditional textbooks, and I can show you the one from Anderton in class in T13, the latest edition. I can't remember if we're on number 6 or number 7. It's the WJC one. The Economic Review, which you can find down in the LRC or the library, is fantastic and has articles at a good level. The Economist is wonderful. News websites, if you're going to use news websites, make sure they're good ones. Very good BBC, and then the broadsheet papers, so not the Sun, not the Mirror, and so on, the Guardian, the Independent, the Telegraph, and so on. Watching videos on different websites. Tutor2U is excellent. I cannot say that enough. Any teacher, any student worth their salt should be on Tutor2U economics every single week without fail, and I mean without fail. Other decent ones, some students like Economics Online, Economics Help, S-Cool Economics. So in terms of effective wider reading strategies and how to read like an economist, what I want you guys starting to learn to do is to read like an economist. Now, one of the things that you guys will all have to do, and all of you are doing data response questions within your unit 2. The whole paper is data response, and you have to obviously critically engage. It's like a big case study. I'll show you in class, but you're going to get questions, and all of them are mandatory. Also in unit 1 you're going to get questions, again all of which are mandatory, and you will have to read and engage with the material that you're given. Now what you've got to do is you've got to learn to critically engage with the material that you're reading and making sure that you're getting the most out of it. Now the worst scenario is that students will read a passage, they'll underline, they'll then look at the question, go back, flick over, and they'll just see loads of underlining and they won't know what was important. So the examples I'm going to show you in a moment will help you to critically engage with the material, and this is what I want you guys doing with everything that you read for the next 2 years. So if you just take this little article, and some of it most of it you won't understand, but the headline is Northern Powerhouse Osborne to stay and fight, and this was George Osborne, one of the previous chancellors of the Exchequer, and what he was going to do was he was going to promote this northern powerhouse. The southeast is traditionally been significantly much richer than the north of the country, so northern England, and there's always been this north-south divide, and so what he's talking about here is creating this northern powerhouse economy to rival that of London and the southeast. And you can see that highlighted it in the yellow. Now you can see what I would do as an economist, rather than just underlining keywords, you can see in circles what I've highlighted, and if you just take the middle, well, the time lag, this is going to take time. This is going to mean significant government capital spending, which you guys might be thinking, well, there's going to be an opportunity cost. Some of you might be thinking that might increase the PPF and shift it outwards. And that's what I want people writing when they're undertaking any form of wider reading. You're relating it to the subject. When eventually you get to looking at what questions might be, straight away you've critically engaged on a much higher level. It takes a little bit longer than doing what students traditionally do, but it's infinitely more effective, and I promise you it will lead to big rewards come exam time, but it has to be practiced. So if I show you an example, this was one of the productivity gap. This was a 2-page article. I've just started taking down a few little notes, some of which you'll understand, some of which you might not. I hope you can read my writing. So in terms of the second little paragraph under the big heading there, it says the big heading, low productivity threatens a British recovery and living standards. And obviously that's something we should now know about with the productivity gap. And in that second paragraph, it says, I was drawn to a terrific Economist article which points out that the French could take Friday off and still produce more than Britons do in a week. And you can see I've written UK productivity gap is large against the major nations, the impact on competitiveness. In the next paragraph down, if GDP is your favoured measure of economic progress, then the UK compares favourably to other countries, but it's exceptional in a less desirable way as well. And what's happened is that we now seem to be an island of quite cheap, if not terribly efficient workers. Okay, now basically what that means, if that's the case, if we are not particularly efficient workers, think of where we would be on a PPF. So we would be inside the PPF. Okay, now I could go a little bit further, and some of you will want to, and talk about the macroeconomics, which we'll start studying after Christmas. But I think you see the point. I'm trying to engage with an article by applying all the concepts that we've looked at so far. Okay, there's another way of doing this. And in terms of this other way of doing it, it's to find a good article. I don't think this is as effective, but some of you might like this. And you find an article in this one, vinyl is back. So talking about, so it sounds interesting. Why are people buying vinyl records? And you can see kind of, I put in the heading on the left hand side, I put the date on the right hand side, and then I've gone into the article and then I've summarized. Obviously this is a very small article and paragraph, and I've done it just for simplicity to show you guys, but in terms of this, why is it having an unexpected comeback? And it's partly the middle to older generation developing their collection, but also for youngsters, it's a little bit retro. It's led to an increase in demand, and some people believe that actually vinyl, it says, brings a warmth, but basically the music plays better on vinyl. So soul, reggae, hip hop, and so on. So in terms of that, I've also included some facts and figures towards the top on how much demand has increased. In a similar vein, this caught my eye the other day. Bread prices may increase. Well, why is that? Why are mum and dad going to be paying more for bread? And it talks about a dire British UK wheat harvest. So just in terms of this, when I looked into the article, we're headed for our worst wheat harvest in 40 years. So think about what's happened to supply. So extreme weather's caused yields to fall by 40%, and partly it was due to heavy rain in the autumn, meaning less could be planted. The wettest February on record, and if you remember the various storms, and then a hot and dry spring which caused droughts in many areas. So poor growing conditions, heavy rains as well meant farmers delaying harvesting their crops. So all of this has caused a shortage of wheat, which then puts upward pressure on the price, which affects the price of a loaf of bread because it's a key ingredient. Notice what I've mentioned there. There's derived demand. You need wheat to produce bread. You're looking for the links in everything that we've done. And the article goes on, the weather extremes are likely to continue into the future because of global warming, which will affect agricultural markets, and also another little whammy coming down the line, prices may be further affected by Brexit. So when it comes to this, you guys are going to be looking for different articles, and you're going to be looking for two different resources. You're going to be hopefully doing that effective widers reading strategy, or alternatively summarizing the key aspects to your articles and videos, and this will need to go up onto Teams. So it will be on assignments, but when it comes to choosing your articles, what are you going to look for? So I've just put in place a couple of websites for you guys to have a little look at. And so in terms of the news, you go into the BBC News. If you go into business and then look for economy, when you click on economy, you look for something that you're going to find interesting. I don't want you to do wider reading on things that you don't find interesting. So you have a little look and you consider what you're going to research this week, and this will need to be done every week. So for example, public spending might rise because of COVID. Try and find out the details. There's something weird about negative interest rates here. So negative interest rates, someone's going to pay you to borrow money. That's effectively what that means. So some of you might be interested in this one. Borrowing is soaring because of COVID costs. Well, surely that's going to mean there's an opportunity cost associated with this. So shoppers could pay more after a no-deal Brexit. Why is that? To what extent will that happen? So the BBC is an excellent resource for you guys. If you use one of the broadsheets, the Guardian's excellent. Again, always look for news, look at business, and then economics. And in terms of this, some of the things live at the moment. So mortgage approval surge. That's partly because of lockdown. People couldn't move. So now that's happening. And at the same time, firms, private industry is warning of tough times ahead. So again, just in terms of this, you choose something that you're interested in, but at the bottom here, Sunak, in terms of the current Chancellor of the Exchequer, the cost could wipe out his spending plans, is what the IFS is saying. So in terms of that, that means the money we're spending on COVID means we're not going to maybe develop education or healthcare or transport. So that might be something that you guys want to write about. Now, I mentioned that Tutor2U is excellent, so I'm just going to show you what I would do. That's how you put in Tutor2U, Tutor2U Economics. You go into the website. If I were you, I would, and I'll show you guys, if you sign up, you can get emails. It's what I get every single morning, and we'll have a look. So just in terms of anything coming up at the moment, you can see things like effective demand. But what you should be doing on here, what I will always do, is I will always look at the blog for what's coming up. Have a little look what we've just been doing, demand and supply. So there's a knowledge quiz there, something you could test yourselves on. If I click into demand, so in terms of that extra work, how are you going to make up that 4 hours? Well, maybe that quiz is something that you want to do. Let's just have a little look at demand. What would I have looked at? What did I look at? Actually, do you know what? There's something I clicked on. Vinyl is back. That sounded interesting to me. Car sales reach a record. Shock. So what's going on? Why are people, I assume, buying more cars? PCs are continuing to decline. Motorists are shunning diesel vehicles. They're moving away from diesel. What's happening to demand in different markets? You guys do something that you're interested in. I wouldn't read articles that don't interest me. I don't expect you to read articles that don't interest you either. So a couple of other